episode number 79.
And in today's episode, we will be discussing the healing process that should be taking place in your life from within.
Ooh, yes.
Your mental state, your body. We'll dive into all that real quick here. So, Mario, can you explain, please? Because he's the one that brought it up,
Explain.
He walked into my house like this and he said, I have a podcast idea.
I didn't walk like this. But.
Yeah, no, you did. So tell us, Mario. Tell us about.
Well, I'm basically gonna say the analogy, and then we'll base it off of this analogy. So this analogy that Sadhguru was saying, and I'm obviously my butcher, but this is the little. What would you say?
You will butcher it. No, you will. Her again. Give him the same.
Okay. Basically, it is your breath can stink, and you might not smell it, even if your nose is literally right on top of your mouth. But who will notice it is everyone around you. So that therefore leads to me saying, you can be this toxic person and you can think so much of yourself, and you might blame everyone else about your situation or how you feel. But the actual truth is that what if you're the problem? What if you are the reason, you keep running into or running in and out of friendships? What are the reason you keep running in and out of other relationships, such as, partner, anything? And that really leads to just watching. And what does it lead to? Like having to know that, is it awareness?
You need
self-awareness?
You do need to bring awareness to this, right? Is what you're trying to say. Mm-hmm. It's like the problem starts when, oh my gosh, yeah, because it's so tricky because people don't realize it. Yeah, that's why. It's a victim mentality that people will never admit.
Oh wow,
that's what it is. It's a victim mentality that people will never admit, that everything happens to them. Their jobs suck. This might sound familiar to some of y'all, where you have a friend, a family member, whoever, their job sucks. Their friends are lame. Their relationships have sucked. All these guys I've dated are shit. All these girls I've dated are hoes. All these people this, all this, and there's always blaming. Job sucks, life sucks, college is hard, school is hard, job is hard, this is tough, my boss sucks, all this shit. Everything around you just fucking sucks all the time. And these people seem like they can't catch a break. Ooh. Well, I think it's time to look within and realize, holy shit, wait a second. What if my outside world is a reflection of what's going on in here? Yep. What if the mess and all this shit that's going on is just the way that I perceive things? Well, Harvey, no, you don't know. You don't go into my workplace and deal with my shitty boss. You don't know about the relationships that I've been in. I don't have to know that. Yep. Because at the end of the day, you attract all this shit into your life. So that again is an excuse. So, actually though.
No, it's facts though.
So, look within when you're dealing with this type of shit. Realize, what do I need to heal within that's causing these things in the first place? Because it gets to a point where, like you said, you might be spouting out all this shit, you might be talking all this shit, but you never pause, reflect, and ask yourself, wait, am I the problem? Is there things that I need to work on? Maybe I should stop telling people, hey, you work on this. Oh, if only this person was acting a little bit better. If only this person knew to treat me this way. Or if only that person could shut up. Shit. And if only instead it was like, how should I act? Because you can't change people. You can't change situations around you. But you know what you can change? Yourself.
Yep, exactly. How you react, what you say, how you think, and every little tiny thing about that and yourself you can change. And the thing is, it is difficult. It is having to realize, or would you say it hurts ego, it hurts your person, it hurts, and it's the realest thing you can do though for major growth. You realize, I am the problem, I have things I need to work on, I apologize, I'm taking a step back, not to affect anyone anymore, but reflect and work on myself. And I feel like that's what people need to do. It's really about working on yourself, inner work, doing things that you've never done before, getting out of that comfort zone, maybe realizing how I talk to people isn't the best way. What should I change differently? What are habits I should take in, put out? Things, little tiny things that have a huge effect, not only now, but in the long term. And you realize all of these things that you're working on, when you get put into that situation again, you see that you are no longer how you used to be or how you react to it. And that's what people need to realize. I guess like you were saying, they blame every other thing but themselves, and it gets to a point where if you really want change, you have to start changing how you are, how you act, what you do each day. And it's the difficult part about it. That's what it is. And I feel like it's fear knowing that, fuck, maybe I was the one fucking up the whole time.
Yeah.
But like, what would you say are things that you can do to change that? Things that, okay, maybe you do realize.
Yeah.
And now you want to work towards becoming a better you.
Well, if you've identified these things, I mean, you're already halfway there.
Yeah, that's so good.
The first problem is even realizing that you're the problem, because people don't want to admit it. Their ego doesn't even allow them to see past, the problem. It's only like, no, they're the problem. I'm right. Fucking narcissist. No, just take a step back and think about it. Even if they are the wrong ones, think about the way you're reacting to it. Why is it affecting you? Why is it causing this emotional distress within that makes you want to react that way? That requires healing. You're probably bringing in. It's like I saw this example once. It's like you might be this garbage truck. You might have all these bags of garbage you're carrying with you. You're dumping them in each relationship you come across, simply because that's what that person gave you at the beginning. So yeah, sometimes it might not even be your fault from the beginning, but you do carry this weight on you. You do carry this stuff, and you just drop it here and there. You drop it towards a family member. You give some to your friends. You give some in your next relationship. And you always feel like they're the problem, like everyone else is the problem. Damn. But no, you're just spewing your little trash that you somehow collected throughout the years, and it's this fucking cycle. So, first step, is realizing that, okay, maybe I'm the problem. Maybe there's things that I can do better. You know what? No, there's always something that I can do better. And and it starts with that. It starts with admitting that you are probably wrong, and it should take you having to seek within, seeing why is that you react this way. Look back at previous relationships. Look back at previous situations, at traumas, at anything that you realize. Okay, what am I bringing in to these things? Is there something that I constantly bring up? Is there something that I am always going back to? Is there something that I keep on repeating that sets people and it like just makes things weird? You got to realize your own patterns and these bad patterns, and realize that, okay, I need to break from these bad patterns. There's things that I can do differently. There's things that, okay, let's say maybe your garbage bag here is filled with anger. You're carrying this anger garbage bag around you, and you realize that you just get ticked off really fast. Yeah. Okay, well, I recommend meditation. Learn to analyze these thoughts. Think of situations where you've been angry and realize, okay, you know what? If this were to happen again, I will not react that way. Yeah. Not only is it not serving me, but it's a waste of time, and I end up saying shit that I'll regret, and I'll end up saying shit that I have to later apologize for. Yeah. So realize that you have to break out of that cycle, because it gets to a point where you keep on putting yourself back in that situation, and you always go back to like, probably shouldn't have said that. Probably didn't need to do that. This was a waste of time. There was no resolution. It was just fucking conflict. And realize these patterns in previous situations. Realize these patterns of distress and all this shit that just doesn't make you feel good, and realize, okay, what can I do better if I were to be put in that situation again to prevent that from ever happening again. Yep. And that's what I have to say about fucking taking those steps necessary to make sure that these loops don't repeat, and to actually start that healing from within. Because again, it might not always be our fault at the beginning. It's just this is stuff that we've been carrying. Maybe it was a toxic partner from the beginning, but because of the way they made you feel, you absorb some of that toxicity and you spew it onto others. You give it to other people. You bring that on. Maybe a bad childhood. You bring that out onto others. And it takes a lot to have to admit that, okay, I need to stop being that person to other people as well. My upbringings doesn't mean I have to fucking be this way towards everyone.
Hell yes.
So yeah, I mean that's literally what healing is identifying the issue and not just focusing on it, but looking for solutions to that issue. And that's where healing can start.
Yeah, and how you say whatever happens in your life, relationship, growing up, any little thing that happens, it will lead you to who you are. But you can be the person to say, I'm not going to let these things identify me, but I'm going to be the person that says, I went through that, I overcame that, and that made me who I am. And that's when you start to switch the perspective on these things. You start to see it as an opportunity instead of a challenge. You start to see it as this wouldn't have happened. I wouldn't be this grateful person if this didn't happen. I wouldn't be so trying to realize or calm down in situations that would increase my anger if this didn't used to happen, or if I used to not have these things. And I say that to say, like, each and every moment are lessons, and these are opportunities for you to realize if you are the problem or if the other person really is the problem. And that's when you see that if conflict increases or whatever it could be, and you see that it's always increasing, and it's never you taking time to step back and calm down, but you letting that take over you. That's when you need to see, maybe I am doing wrong, maybe I am what's wrong, because it's literally based on every situation. Because imagine you encounter someone, you get so mad at them, you start to scream at them, but yet they are still calm, they are still not giving you that reaction you so crave. That's when you start to question yourself. You're like, wait, why is he not doing anything? Why am I so mad? Like, what do you get from it? It's really what it is. And then that's when you start to see it's not anyone else but me that's causing me to feel this way. And, like you say, with everything else in our life, yes, carry it around. Yes, it's a story to tell, but don't let it define you. Don't let these emotions of previous things that you've done, previous regrets that you might have lived your life wishing you've never done. Don't put that hate, that anger, that sadness towards anyone else. Realize that now you're in the moment, you are a different person than you were. Or maybe you're working towards being that different person. And maybe they are too. Maybe they did you wrong and they apologized for it. You accepted it. Now maybe it's time to realize, okay, and then why are you gonna keep holding on if you accepted it? If you know it's okay now. And that's when it gets to a point where you see maybe you're just holding on to it for other reasons. Maybe it's something deeper than just this situation. Maybe it's something that it really is like needing to see something within yourself. Maybe you're not fulfilled with relationships you've been in or things that what's going on in your life, and you use this as a thing to say, oh, this is what happened to me, so I'm going to hold myself back because this happened to me. But that's what it is, like a victim mindset, seeing all this happen to me, so I'm going to use all these situations as an excuse to be who I am, act like this towards other people. And that's the worst thing you can do.
Exactly. No, and I'm going to add on to that by saying that once you realize everything we've just talked about, and once you realize that these things are going on in your life, now comes what the universe does best, what life does best, and it challenges you. It'll throw opportunities, because it's not like suddenly, okay, I'm going to heal from within. I'm going to work on myself, and my anger is gone.
Which was that easy.
My depression is gone. All these conflicts and shit that I've been bringing to the table are gone. No. Here's what happens, guys. These things start to enter your life. All right, you say you want to work on your anger? Bet. Here's an opportunity right here that's going to test your patience. It's going to test your patience, and you're going to see whether you react or not. Did you react? Okay, bet. You just brought yourself back to that loop. You brought yourself back to that cycle. Or you identify like, oh, it's happening. You know what? I noticed it. Wow, what are the odds that literally yesterday I was meditating on, calming down my anger and realizing situations, and now this happened. You know what? I'm going to take a step back and just let it happen. Why should I get emotionally involved into something that brings me no good?
Ooh.
And so that's when you identify the issue while it's happening and before you get yourself sucked into that. So like this is what happens, and this is where growth happens as well. This is where you actually start to apply your healing. The healing that you've been doing, it gets applied to see if you are actually making progress in life, in your healing. And these situations will come up. Don't expect them to all be gone, and you're just this nonchalant person that just goes around and I'm unfazed. None ever happens. Like no. You'll still have emotions. You'll still have things that are going on around you. It's just a matter of does it do me any good? Is it benefiting me at all? And really that's how you know that you are healing as a person.
You know what you reminded me of? That's a good point that you make too. It's because it reminds me of letting these emotions take over you. When you realize that you might feel this anger, you might feel, sad in a situation, whatever rises up to make you feel this certain way and test whatever you were praying for, asking for to be more of. And you realize, okay, these feelings are coming up, but do I decide to react? You still have these feelings, you acknowledge that you have this feeling, but you control the emotion instead of the emotion controlling you. And I say this to say personally, because we get personal on here with you guys. I say this to say, with me personally, I used to have a huge problem of being able to get upset and angry so quick and just get into the most like argumentative way, say the worst things possible in order to bring whoever I was arguing with down. And then that therefore led to me thinking, why would I even say that? Like, I didn't mean that. It started to hurt me because I said that to them. It started to make me think, who, like I started to regret what I said, and that's what it is. And that's when I realized I let that emotion of anger, that emotion of wanting to make that person, belittle that person, bring them down as much as I can so I can feel better. But at the end of the day, you calm down. You finally calm down. You're finally in this mindset of yourself. You're not letting that emotion take over. You're not saying shit you regret. You're not saying all these things to bring this person down. Because at the end of the day, you are going to remember that. That person's going to remember how that made them feel. And you're going to feel so sad and like sorry for saying that. And you go and apologize. But that's the thing. It should never lead to outbursts of anger. It should never lead to you controlling, or that emotion controlling you. And that's what it is. It's inner work. I realized I had this problem. I was so open about it. I would even like tell my parents, you know, because I feel like it's a family thing that we have, because we all have this tendency to get annoyed quickly and get angry about whatever situation and scream as much as we can. You know, it's a toxic thing, and something I realized. I remember specifically telling my mom it was like, I would say a year ago now, probably, maybe even farther back, but I said, you know what, I know that we have this thing in us that gets us so angry whenever, and it triggers us. And I told her, I don't want to be that. I don't want to be like that anymore. Like, I don't want that emotion to take over me, to start, you know, being violent, to start screaming, start doing anything to bring another person down in an argument, because I know what it leads to. And, you know, I started to do inner work. I started to meditate on how to control my emotions. I started to meditate on realizing that maybe I need to, or like breath exercises. Okay, I see I'm getting, you know, a little frustrated, or I'm getting angry at this. You know, maybe just take a breath, take a step back. Okay, is this really worth getting angry about? What is actually happening right now? And then, you know, I think about it. By the time I'm thinking about it, I'm like, okay, I'm going to calm down, or take myself completely out of that situation. You see that person's nagging you, doing everything to get you to that trigger point where you're like, I have to say anything I can to bring this person down. But that's when you realize, no, be the bigger person. Don't let this emotion control you. Because if someone can tell you shit and they get your reaction, they have control over you. You become their slave. You become anything they want you to be, simply because you reacted to anything they told you. And that's when we say these things, because we do these things. You know, we don't just say shit for y'all to do it and then we don't do it, because we know how it works. We know, like, we have things we've gone through, things we need to work on, things that we look back and are like, why would I ever do that? And that's when we take steps back in our own lives. And this is how we improve as people. And everyone has something they need to improve on. And obviously, we don't claim to ever be the perfect people. But we claim to want to show y'all what's working for us. And hopefully that works for you.
Yeah. And that's been our journey. I mean, that's always been our journey throughout this podcast, is to share as we go. Because this is stuff that we apply into our lives. This is stuff that works. Otherwise, we wouldn't be telling y'all this.
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly.
And so, you know, I mean, that's about all there is with this topic on inner work, on healing from within, on quit making yourself the victim and taking control of your life. I mean, we want the best life for you. We want to know that you are all doing great.
Yep.
Y'all are living your all's best life. Yes. And, you know, there's little tips in life, you know. We didn't come with an instruction manual the day we were born, you know. But we do gotta share knowledge. We do gotta share wisdom and help each other and support each other and continue to grow from where we're at. And emotional control is one of those big factors, because if we let our emotions go, it's a whole mess. It's a whole mess, and you will never, you know, life is just kind of crumbles away.
Yeah, you know what? One point, just to wrap this thing up, is actually that you just reminded me of too. You know, it's being accountable with yourself and realizing you did wrong. Realizing, you know, maybe you were this fucking bitch of a person. Maybe you realized I wasn't the best person that I could be. I wasn't as grateful, and that's when it steps towards healing, right? You have to learn to forgive yourself, and that's something I really learned, you know, in previous relationships. Maybe I wasn't the best person in that relationship. Maybe I didn't take that person like as I didn't show them, I really did care about them. I didn't show them I was as grateful as I should be. And that's when you take a step back. You have to realize, I can apologize to this person. We can say it's okay. And I can still feel like, fuck, why would I ever do that to anyone else? But that's when you have to learn. That's really something else I learned too. Anyone can do the worst things to you. You can do the worst things to somebody. But forgiving yourself is a huge step to healing yourself, because so many things in this life can hurt another person, or so many things can become thrown at you and someone can do something to you. But it's really learning about how to forgive them and yourself, because I know like that for me was a huge struggle. Learning to forgive myself for my previous actions. Like, why would I ever do that to someone? Who am I to do that to anyone? And that's what people need to realize as well. I would say, it's compassion not only to people that do you wrong, but be compassionate with yourself, because at the end of the day, if you keep holding that pain, that regret inside of you, you will never heal. So that's when you have to take time and realize, you know what, I did that, I can't do anything about it, I forgive myself, I will no longer do that.
Yeah, no, I like that. And one thing that you actually told me about a few months ago that I still apply to this day is to forgive ourselves for our ignorance. And that's what it is. Because there's moments in our life where we look back and, like you said, it's like, why would I ever do that? Why was I like that? Why was I that person? And it comes from a place of ignorance. Like, yes, realize your mistake, realize you're wrong, but forgive that and move on. Like, forgive yourself for that and move on, because that's in the past now. And all you can do, all you can deal with is the present right now. And knowing that, okay, I learned from that, and I am now accountable for myself. I'm now accountable for myself and my own actions, because I'm aware that what I did back then is no longer of use to me. Who I was back then, that isn't the person that I want to be. So you step away from that, and that's what it is. So, all right, now to really wrap up I want to leave y'all with a few tips, little tips to start this healing. Of course, like we said, first step is questioning yourself, question your actions, and identify the problems. Identify the bad patterns in your life. Identify these things. That's the first step. You're already halfway there if you're willing to admit that you are wrong, that you have stuff to improve on, that you have these things that you need to work on to be a better person.
And if you say you don't, then that might be your problem.
Yeah, that is a problem. We all have shit we need to work on.
Everyone always. Anyone can be seen as perfect, but no one is.
No, so you're 50% of the way there once you're there, and then now to just to bring you throughout the rest until you reach that 100%, which who knows? There's always going to be trials and tribulations, but true. These are the tips, and I highly recommend meditation. If you don't know how to meditate, if you've never sat down, it's important, because you're taking time out of your day to be alone with your thoughts and realizing what's the first thing that enter my mind. What is my mind filled with? What's gonna bubble to the surface when I sit in silence and listen? What's going on? What is my subconscious trying to tell me? What have I stored that I need to deal with? Meditation. And it's not at all that complicated. Search up on YouTube. I really recommend Calm on YouTube, or the app too. But, go on there and do a meditation. They'll take you through some breath work. They'll take you through, quick 5-10 minute meditations. Take that time out of your day to work on yourself. It's worth it. Those 5-10 minutes are worth it. So meditation's important. Another thing that really ties into it, this is the foundation to a lot of issues that we face in society today. So this also ties into emotional control, and it's a morning routine. A morning routine is your foundation for the day. Anyone's day can be shitty if you started off on the wrong foot and you drag that energy, you put that energy out there towards everyone. You are that shitty person towards everyone, simply because you just don't have any structure to your day. You don't have this armor with you. You just wake up and you do whatever. You're carrying no energy with you. You just spew out whatever and do whatever. But with a morning routine, you're allowing yourself, you're building this momentum at the beginning of the day that'll swing you through the rest of your day. And you take this energy with you. You build this energy at the beginning of the day, and that energy will last you for the rest of the day. When you vibrate that high, when you're at that frequency, it's hard to take you down, because I got my morning routine done. I've accomplished these things. You feel better about yourself. You have structure to your day. You're making progress. It's hard to knock someone else like that down, but it's so easy to be controlled by other people and be broken down when you have no structure. When you have no structure, you're just going around your day aimlessly with no tasks to accomplish, nothing to do, nothing to work on, no ideas. Your mind's cluttered. You're not giving it space for new ideas, new opportunities. So that too, I recommend. So those are my recommendations. I don't know if you have any extra, but mine's meditation and a morning routine. Get that stuff together, and that those are some tips for healing right there.
Yeah, no, I agree with those. Honestly, I mean, morning routine can consist of a lot. That's really what it is. You know, I highly recommend just expressing any sort of gratitude in the morning, any sort of gratitude for anything. I heard this podcast recently. It was this. I don't know exactly who it was, but she was a motivational speaker, right? She says at least 20 things to be grateful for. Like, she's in bed, says at least 20 things she's grateful for, and they can't be bought with money. So this gets her, you know, in this gratitude frequency. And when you're in gratitude frequency, joy comes because you realize what you have. And joy and depression cannot be in the same state of mind. So it's either one or the other. And by you being grateful, you're already starting your day with a grateful attitude, and you go into that joy frequency because you realize what you have, so much that you have. And the special thing is money can't buy any of these things. So it could be like your health, your family, anything. Sort of examples, you know, that's a huge thing for me. Affirmation, so many things that you can do, and that's all like implemented to morning routine. So that's why I said, you know, it ties into that. And that's why I say you should do your own research, figure out what is a good morning routine for me, because like we say, we will be heavy advocates for morning routine because we know the power in them.
Yep. And so that is about it, guys. Thank you.
Sir.
Thank you for listening, guys. Genuinely and honestly.
Yes, thank you so much. Please have an amazing day.
Yes.
Okay, bye.
Oh my God. Bro, what I was doing. Okay, now we're left with that. Okay, we're left with them. Guys, for the YouTube fam, y'all haven't caught up to the level in terms of audience reach as you have our podcast. So, if you watching right now could share this with a friend, send this to someone. That would be greatly appreciated. If you can simply like that button, you know, I see it's gray right now. Make it blue, please.
Good job.
So that we can, I know. So that we can continue to make. I mean, we're still going to continue.
No,
to make,
we will.
But
your support means a lot, though.
Yeah, you're supporting us, and that is greatly appreciated. And
that's what it is, guys. So just please like, comment, and subscribe. It means the world.
It does. All right. We'll see you later.
Bye. There you go. Good job.